Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the Nendoroid Tails. This is one of the most anticipated figures I've been looking forward to all of like 2023, and I just recently got it. And now that I finally have it in my hands, is it as good as the Sonic Nendoroid? I think it's good. It's not as good as the Sonic, but I think it's good. A lot of people have complaints about like the proportions of this guy and like how his body looks, but I've been collecting Sonic figures since like Toy Island in like 2000 or so. So I'm so used to having weird proportions for Tails figures. But is this the best Tails figure? No. I think the Collector's Jack's Tails figure, that is absolutely the best. They look straight out of the game. That one's perfect. But this one definitely gets like second place. Like it's definitely a close second. This is a pretty good figure. To be completely honest, the proportions remind me a lot of like Sonic X, because his belly was always really big for some reason in that show, and like long and lanky and weird. So as a fan of Sonic X, I mean, I guess it matches, doesn't it? But let's take a closer look at Tails. And when I saw the initial prototype of this guy, I was a little concerned. I didn't think it looked as good as the unpainted prototype. Mainly because the unpainted prototype has like skinnier irises, and I just thought that overall looked better. But the camera for this thing does not really do this thing justice. Seeing it in person, it definitely looks a lot cuter and better in person. But the way this Nendoroid is built is completely different. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about it. Because I think the thing that irritates me the most is like the ball hinges. So like these ones are like super small and tiny, okay? So like if these break, they don't give you a replacement for these. But the ankles and the wrists are also the same way. Where like, it's weird because if you take it apart, it's on a ball hinge technically, okay? And I hate ball hinge ankles so much. But then on the bottom, it tries to also act a bit like a ball socket, so you have like a little bit of wiggle room in there. And I don't know if it's how I managed to position the sock cuffs or like the ankle or whatever, like that little ball hinge or whatever, but somehow me moving the ankles around does not give me an issue whatsoever. Personally, I think it's just like how it's like engineered, I guess. I don't think it has to do too much with how the ball hinge is placed, like, because I get a lot more movement thanks to the ball hinge. But like, if I'm just trying to like position it like to like make them just stand right, like it seems like the ball socket in there like allows a little bit of movement to get him sure-footed. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like, it's really odd how it's engineered. But yeah, even the sock cuffs are loose on this guy as well. Not that that's bad, it's just different. It's really different. And speaking of, I noticed if I take this off, you can see how the gray under here is painted, which I'm really happy they did this because that's just an attention to detail of Tails. But I don't know if I'm like overlooking things, but like there is a visible line on where the paint should end, and the painting is over that. So they went over the lines. Like, I don't mind too much because then it becomes more visible when you're actually posing the figure. But then when you see the sloppiness in it, it just doesn't look all that good. So this figure definitely did not get as much polish as the original Sonic did. Because even with the newer release of Sonic, like I've noticed there's like bigger seam lines that shouldn't be there. And I saw one review where like the star was painted upside down on the goal post, or the checkpoint, I mean. I don't know what's going on with Good Smile Company. But I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like you kind of have more wrist movement with Tails than you do with Sonic. So that I like a lot. That's actually pretty awesome. And then the tails, they don't come on him like in the box. You gotta put these on. But I was expecting this to be on like a ball peg or something, but no, it's like it's a straight peg, but which is fine. And then these also can move, so you can position it exactly the way you want it. And I like that because I don't think any of the other Tails figures do that really. So I'm happy that this one can. And of course, they do the bottom of his shoes, right? Which, if you compare him next to Sonic, like if I pull out this Sonic over here, you can see how glossy these shoes are, but like Tails has a matte finish on his shoes. So like, I'm not sure like why they did that. Like, I don't remember if it's supposed to look like that, like concept art wise, or what it is, but it looks a little off. And even then, people were complaining about like the size comparisons. They're not supposed to exactly scale next to each other, but the fact that like the eyes and the mouth are higher than what Sonic's are is really off. I'm not a huge fan of that. And a lot of people are talking about like how like this seems so off. And I hear so many different opinions. Like this one seems like a little too stylized, I hear from some people, or I can't narrow it down myself. I personally think it looks cuter in person, but I feel like if you have him standing next to Sonic, it can look kind of weird. But if you have him like flying and stuff like that, and making him look dynamic so it's not directly next to Sonic, then it looks better that way. Which, speaking of, let's go over the accessories, because there's a good amount here. This is not included. First up, I'm going to say I wish it would have came with a few more hands. I wish it would have came with like a peace sign, a thumbs up, stuff like that. Because all we have are open hands, fists, and a gripping hand. That's it. But first up, I love the propeller tail so much. And I love how you can see where the paint ends. I'm not sure how well it'll show up on camera, but like you can see like where the paint's supposed to end. And then right here is supposed to be for the stand. And which, by the way, if you want to set this up with the stand, I recommend like taking the stand itself, because this is supposed to be like a hexagonal design. So I would say put it in the Tails first, and then set up Tails with it, and then put it on the base, because I feel like it's just easier that way. But getting it out, it's a tight fit, so be careful taking it out, because it is a long stem, so it has a chance of breaking if you're trying to get it out, so be careful. Which, taking that out is relatively easy. Just slide it out, put that in, and there you go. Personally, I love pairing this with the Figma stand rather than the Nendoroid stand, because this Nendoroid stand doesn't really give you a whole lot of height with what you want to do with it, and for some reason they give you an absurdly big Nendoroid stand for Tails. For context, this is the Sonic stand, and for some reason it's always like the middle four that are useless, but all these are completely useful. These ones are just too big. I don't understand why, but it's also thinner, I think. Yeah, it's thinner too. I don't know why they did this, but like, I mean, fine, I'll take it. But when it comes to swapping out the face for this guy, it's interesting, to say the least. So, let's say we want to take out his mouth, okay? But you also want to swap out the eyes. So then you're going to have to actually take off the face. And then we're just going to pop out one of the eyes. So you just press it like a button, so it's not difficult to take it out. And we're going to put in this eye. We're going to press that in. And we're going to replace that over here. So if you want to make a derpy looking Tails, you can pair him with these eyes if you really want to. And then you're going to put that in his head. And then you're going to grab the different smile and pose it with this. And there you go. We got a different face for Tails. I'm personally more of a fan of the open smile, but one of my friends, he really likes the regular mouth closed rather than this guy, so I'm interested to see what you guys think. But I'm gonna put the regular Tails back on. And also doing the pose where he's like setting up with his gear is so cute. So I'm gonna replicate the one that's on the box. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this out, and we're gonna take out that one eye again. And we're going to put in the winking eye. Set that up, okay. And the color tones, I think it's mainly because of the fact that they have different finishes. So the colors come off, like, kind of different. But, I don't know, it looks fine to me, I guess. But I'm not too picky. No, there's times I'm picky. So anyway, we're going to set this up, okay. And then we are going to swap out the arms as a whole. Because the two different bent elbows we have are two different positions, actually. One is going to be going outwards. The other one is going to be going more to the side. So we're going to have it like, so he's pressing it up like this. Which, by the way, I wish Sonic came with a hand like this or an elbow like that. Because being able to just pose him like this, that's awesome. Especially if he's been doing the waving finger too. Like, it just overall just looks so good. Like, we need a Sonic Nendoroid 2.0, but no, we're not getting that. And then we're going to swap out this hand, this standard fist, for the gripping hand. And then we're going to put that on here. We're going to kick this out a little bit, because for some reason they have him doing that. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it looks I don't want to say unnecessary, but I don't know, I just prefer him having both of his feet down. Then we're going to take the little wrench and then slide that in there, and it's a nice firm grip too. And then we're going to get the goggles, and they just slide right on. And they stick on there really well too, which I think this looks so stinking cute. Which, by the way, you also see a picture with him with a giant backdrop for the tornado. That's in the box. That's the cardboard display. So it's not going to look good as the picture that you see. So personally, I'm not going to use it. But if you want to see it, there you go. It's right there. But earlier I was mentioning lack of polish. And one of the biggest things I want to complain about is if you look at his straight hands, I think they look fine. They look cute. But if you get a closer look, they're like molded. The fingers are molded together, and then it just separates right at the very tips. Well, if you look at Sonic's hand, it's all completely separated. The hands are smaller on Tails, which, I mean, that's accurate, but then it looks even weirder thinking of the proportions because of him technically being taller than Sonic, like, as a Nendoroid. It's odd, but okay. But I kind of like how with the gloves, how, like, the indents are only on the sides. Like, everything else looks mostly normal. I don't know, I think that's a nice attention to detail. I think it's like more the, like, the art coming to life more. I like it. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is the Chaos Emerald. Because you would think on paper this is just the same mold but just made a different color, which that is far from the truth. This is actually a different Chaos Emerald. So that's why I brought over the green one, because with the green one, we have a hole for a peg like that, which, by the way, like these little stands, Tails does not come with these. Instead, you have one of these to have it like hover over Sonic or Tails. So in here, you would have a straight like peg hole, while with this is rounded. Like this is meant to be for this other thing that I couldn't find. But if you try to put this in here, it'll look like that and just look off. It's interesting how they're actually making it like a all new mold. And also I love the fact that like if he's having trouble standing up, you can like manipulate his Tails to like help him stand up the way he needs to. I don't know. I like Tails. He's cool. I don't love him as much as I love Sonic, but like this is a good figure. If I didn't have the Jax Ultimate already, this would be my favorite Tails figure. Which, like, he looks like Tails. He's fine, but like he doesn't like translate as perfectly as Sonic does to a Nendoroid. And I mentioned earlier how I want to set him up with flying, so let me set that up real quick so you can see how that looks. So we're going to get the stand, like I mentioned earlier, or get the arm. We're going to plug that in here, okay? And then you can just rotate that, no problem. And then we're going to get the base. We're going to plug it like right here, I guess. And then we're going to get Tails ready. So we're going to take the goggles off. And then we're going to take this out. And I only like him looking to his left for some reason. I don't know, I think that's just my favorite eye position. Put that in there, and personally I'm more of a fan of the open mouth, so we're going to stick with the open mouth. We're going to put that back in there. We're just going to move this out of the way for now. Get this out of the way, and set him back up with just the normal straight arms. We're going to take the tails out, put that back there, and then we're going to put him down, and thankfully he still has the movement or like the range he needs to like keep his head up while he's flying, so he doesn't look like he's looking straight down. I think he kind of get more movement this way more than Jax figure does, which as much as I mentioned how I should probably bring him out, so I'll do that soon. Okay, so then anyway, so we're gonna like make it so like he's hovering like this, okay? So then we just plug his butt into this, and there you go. You have Tails flying. At first, I didn't think this would be high enough for like him actually flying, but like if you want to keep it looking appropriate for the most part, having it with this height is fine. But personally, I like him more with the Figma stand, so you get that extra length. So you just like completely ditch this arm, get the arm from the Figma, and you could put it in this base or stick with the regular Figma base, and he'll have a lot more height. In fact, I have one right here. So if I take him out of this, okay, yeah, take him out of this. We're gonna be gentle, wiggling this out. There we go. And then we plug this right in here, and it's like a nearly perfect fit. Like, you actually struggle a lot less getting the peg in and out with the Figma stand. I just don't like the hexagonal design they do for the Nendoroids. Like, I like the Figma stand so much better. Then you plug this in there, and then as you can see, he has a lot more height. Especially if we like grab Sonic and like keep him away from the base, so he doesn't have the extra height. Like, I think this to me looks perfect. I love this. And I've done a couple of pictures right here where you can see Sonic and Tails together, and I think they look fine together. I don't think it's as perfect as I'd want it to be, but like, I like it. I think it's fine. The people who designed the Sonic Nendoroid versus the people who designed the Tails Nendoroid are like two completely different people, and it's like a 10-year gap. So I wish we would have gotten like Sonic's friends like 10 years before, because then we could have gotten better accessories. We could have had it like line up a little bit better. But I'm actually happy that we have. Oh, also be careful with this guy. Be very careful. But anyway, I think this Tails is fine. If I were to give it a grade, I give it an 8 personally. But also Sonic fanboyism is in there a little bit. There's a small bias in there. Like, if you get the Nendoroid by himself, he's cute, he's fine, but like, again, it doesn't live up to what Sonic left behind as a legacy for Nendoroids. And Knuckles is going to be even more disappointing, in comparison at least. But like, I'm so excited for Knuckles. Actually, I'm excited to get them all together, and I really, really hope like they expand on this. I want to get other characters. I want to get Metal Sonic. I want Amy. I want Shadow. I want Super Sonic. But we'll see. It would have been nice if they would have done a Nendoroid more, where like they do like extra accessories, like with Kirby with the Planet Robobot stuff. I would love for them to do something for Tails with the Tornado. I highly doubt that's ever happening, but a man can dream. But this is one of my most anticipated figures I've gotten, and does it live up to the hype? I'm not disappointed. It's interesting, like with some of the changes they made, like with the ball-hinged ankles. But overall, I do like this thing. Would I recommend him? Absolutely. Whether it be just a casual Tails fan, or if you're trying to add on to the Sonic Nendoroid diorama, I think he's fine. Especially if you have him in a pose like this. Like, the clashing of the different heights or whatever is not going to really be there. So if you do want to grab one of these guys yourself, there will be links in the description, some of them being affiliate links, so it does help out the channel a lot if you do those. But like, I wasn't looking forward to Tails as much as I am for Knuckles, so like, I was expecting myself to be a little let down by this, but again, I'm actually more impressed in person. When I saw some pictures of this, I was actually blown away by this guy. So I think this is one of those things where like, wait until you get it in person to like really cast judgment. Like, if Nendoroid Sonic is like a 9 or a 10, this is definitely like a 7 or an 8. I think he's good. I personally have fun with him, but definitely like not as good as Sonic. Okay, I actually just got done filming and I forgot to put this in. But I wanted to quickly compare the Jax Ultimate versus the Nendoroid. And looking at them side by side, as you can tell, like this one definitely like looked like it popped out of the game so much better. But like I feel like they both belong in someone's collection. They're both really good figures. Like, you can't really manipulate his tails all that much. While with this one you can. But again, like this one like just looks like it jumped straight out of the game. But the Nendoroid I feel like is still cute. So it's hard to say which one is actually the better figure, because they both have pros and cons over each other. But like, I feel like out of the two, I think the Jax Ultimate is probably gonna be my personal favorite, because of just how close to the in-game model he actually is, especially when it comes to scaling compared to the modern Sonic in that same line. But like, if I didn't have this and I had just the Tails right here, I'd be happy. I love this so much. It's so cute. But that's going to be it for this video, and I will be reviewing Knuckles whenever I get my hands on that, so subscribe if you want to see that as well. But if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description there's going to be places to buy, as well as my social media, especially my Instagram if you want to see pictures of stuff like this. But thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'm so excited to like expand on the line. This is going to be so fun. I hope they do more. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death, and I'll see you on the next one, so peace.